Hello everyone. So in the last video, you learned how to locate Excel. And we left off at this particular window. So at this point, you can either create a blank document workbook, or we can upload a file, an existing file. So what I did was I already had an existing file that I had been working on, just playing with, and I'm just going to do that just to show you just a few things about. In this particular video, you're going to learn basically how do you modify a column. So first of all, let's understand the differences. Your rows, these numbers represent rows. The letters going across the top, they represent the columns. So this is column A going down, this is column B, this is column C, and so forth. So how do you modify these columns? How do you make them, for example, if I wanted to make column H wider, I could just click right there on top of, see that little line right there? And notice how my cursor turns into a double-sided arrow. And when I see that, I can click and hold and I can drag it out, and that makes it wider. And I can bring it back in, and then I can make, I can diminish the width of that particular column. Now, Excel will do this for you automatically, especially with the desktop version. The online version that I'm using here can be a little tricky. Let me do this with numbers. I want you to see something. So notice how this number here, you see that right there? In other words, you can't see the entire number. And if I squeeze this column even more, all of them will look like, well, most of them will look like that. Okay, if I squeeze it anymore, definitely all of them will pretty much, you can't read the numbers, right? So what that's an indication that, hey, your column is not wide enough. That's what Excel is letting you know. Now, what I just did was I moved my cursor, let me do that again, between the double-sided arrow. So I moved my cursor between the double-sided arrow right there, or I'm sorry, between columns B and C, and I get a double-sided arrow, and then I double-click. And when you double-click, Excel will automatically resize the width of the column based on like this number right here, which is the longest number, which makes that column, wide at that point. That's what it's going to do. It's just going to resize that particular column based on whatever information you have. And it could be text that's in here as well. And I want to say it only does that. Let me see. I believe, hold on. I believe it only does it. Yeah, it only does it with numbers. Now, obviously, you see how the text is getting cut off right in here. So if I double click, yeah. So the text will get cut off, but numbers, yeah, you just can't read them. So basically, that's how you can resize these columns and rows, these columns, and we'll get to rows. Pretty much works the same way with rows as well. So that's modifying them. So basically, that's how you can modify your columns as far as resizing them in Excel.